The Ojibwa are an indigenous group of people in Canada and the United States. Being able to map and see their movements and understand why these movements occurred help us better understand their way of life. The history and lives of the Ojibwa people are complex and active, from expanding and moving due to the war between indigenous groups, to moving and expanding to adapt to the fur trade. Take a leap back in time to explore the areas of Ontario from the late 1600s to the early 1700s to see where the Ojibwa tribes lived and worked. See their movements through the years as they navigate the new world that is upon them. The arrival of newcomers from Europe have played an important role in the movement of these tribes.
Okay, in the upper left corner here, this is our final product of our map. Our map consists of two major components, or major group layers. If you can kind of see here, one layer is our timeline layer, and the other layer is our all Ojibwa movement layer. So this Ojibwa movement layer consists of an overall view of all movements documented from the Peter Schmall's 1991 literature on the Ojibwa of Southern Ontario. So this layer consists of the following. We have political boundaries, Indigenous reserves, Ontario treaties, as well as a base map, and four major queries, four major layers of movement, all pertaining to various major events or major wars occurring between the 1600s and the late 1860s. So in order to obtain all the required XY location data for this map, we used Google Earth and also Google Maps in order to identify various locations to complete our timeline. As we were required to obtain coordinate data from a variety of sources, we found that the geographic coordinate system WGS 1984 would be an appropriate coordinate system to use, as we obtained data from a variety of sources, as mentioned. So the grouped movements layer here illustrates the various movements through three major time periods, as mentioned before, as well as a total cumulative movement events, which is pictured here in the top left corner. So throughout this project, in addition to using these query function, we also use the field calculator. We made use of labeling and symbology, as well as editing attributes and the grouping of layers to complete our final map, as well as data manipulation with Excel. So as well, one final thing that I should mention is one of the most difficult choices within the process of developing our map was the decision of which projection system to use. So as we initially thought that using UTM 17 would be a good choice, as the majority of our data is within Ontario. Some of it does cross the UTM 17 border as we get closer east into Quebec. So we decided that we want a larger scale map. So therefore, the projection system of a Canada Lambert conformal conic would be the most appropriate choice. Now, moving on to Jamie, he will now explain how we have studied these spatiotemporal patterns using the ArcGIS time slider function.
Is a tool within ArcMap which provides various controls that allow the viewer of the map to visualize temporal data. This tool enables the user to edit the viewing options to play, pause, scroll forward and backward in time, enable and disable time on the map, and to export the video created by the time slider, among many other features. As you activate the timeline layer, this layer will enable the viewer to essentially view movement events in a temporal manner. The viewer must open the time slider tool and ensure that time is enabled on the map. If the viewer wants to view movement events year by year, open the time slider options, time slider display, and set time step interval to 1 year. Press OK and ensure the time slider is moved to the very beginning of the slider. Press the play button to either play each consecutive movement event automatically or manually, and you will be able to see each major movement event play out on the map. And that's it for the time slider. Each of these layers display a cumulative effect of all movement events and establish places where the Ojibwa were located during the specific time or specified time. An HTML pop-up is available to utilize as well, wherein the viewer can see the movement event, specific year, and reference each time or for each event. And the HTML pop-ups how-to guide. First, select the target shapefile and open the attribute table to access table fields and attributes. View all fields and make a list to include with your HTML pop-ups, which will provide the desired information. Next, open the properties of the shapefile, cycle tabs to fields, and select only the fields which will provide the desired result in the HTML pop-ups. Cycle tabs to HTML pop-ups next, and make sure the show content for this layer using the HTML pop-up tool is selected. Select Apply, OK, and close the Properties window. Select the HTML pop-up tool. In the future, and likely on a smaller time scale, tracking a particular decade perhaps, it will be of great use in organizing a change in a specific area.
All right. From an ArcGIS perspective, lessons learned by members during this project are plentiful. It was extremely interesting applying everything we have learned so far in this course. HTML pop-ups were particularly intriguing since they showed the user they can target a specific feature or point on the map and add information like dates, sources, and general facts. HTML pop-ups will likely come in great use in the future for anyone pursuing a career where ArcGIS will be utilized. Real-life applications could include creating an interactive map for a customer detailing a location of interest. This project enables us to both explore a few new tools as part of GIS, in addition to new data management and organization strategies. We applied many concepts learned throughout the year in this course. We also learned about the complexity of data collection, formatting, and management through both Excel and ArcGIS. We all agreed that the collection of our Ojibwa movement data, as well as the formatting of the time slider function, was the most time-consuming and challenging part of the project, but it was also the most rewarding. Getting accurate latitude and longitude coordinates can prove to be tricky, especially when several different sources using varying geographic coordinate systems are used. As well, formatting the required Excel sheets for the correct export into ArcGIS can be proved to be time-consuming, as we need to perform various Excel formulas, VLOOKUP, etc. Also, using the time slider function correctly meant that our Excel spreadsheet data needed to be saved and imported into GIS under certain specific cell formats, text saved as numbers instead of general. Overall, ArcGIS is a complex tool that has proved to be very rewarding for many fields of study. We feel like this project has proven to be extremely successful in performing as informative and an educational tool for historians, archaeologists, and students wanting to learn more about the importance of Canada's Indigenous history.
Real-life applications can apply to someone studying the history of soil health in an area.
This is so boring. Oh my god. Jeez, he's gonna fall asleep.
Tree loss or growth over time, or population growth and decline. That's it.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
That